This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
If you kind of look deeper at the situation, which I'm sure you will, because everything that we go through is an experience that we learn from.
And Justin Burke.
I come right in. I'm very sneaky about it. You'll be talking to someone, and I'll just come in and sit at my desk and just bust one out real quick.
It is the 9th of February, 2024. My name's Corey Winfield.
I'm Justin Burke.
And we're just going to bust one out.
That sounds about right.
That's what I said. Coming in my office, sit down, and we'll bust one out, Justin.
Yeah.
Real fast, because we're going to go see some stand-up comedy tonight at the Traverse City Comedy Club.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And who's there?
I'm not for sure.
But you know something about them.
No.
Oh.
Got your ass.
Yeah, trying to get you. No, you said something earlier. It was funny because you asked me who was there, and I was like, I don't know. Some brother from Muskegon. You're like, oh, that's great. It's a black guy. Black guys are really funny.
Yeah, I did say that.
And that's why I tried walking you into that conversation, but you didn't.
No, I wasn't being politically correct. I didn't want to.
Well, because I was like, that's racist, Justin. You're like, what? What's racist? I was like, you just said that black people are funny.
They typically are
that's
comedians.
That's not what I was saying. And what? And I had you all confused. So that's why I think you were kind of afraid to engage in this conversation with me
a little bit
right now on the 217 Recovery Podcast.
Yeah.
Which we talk about recovery.
Yep.
We talk about our days and our lives in recovery. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm a doctor or a therapist or a counselor. I'm just telling you what I'm going through in my own recovery.
Yeah.
Justin, you're kind of doing the same thing. And I have a little over 5 years. You have
a little over 4.
So, we're doing the thing and we're making dreams come true.
Yep.
And there are dreams. And other people, they don't have to understand them.
No.
Because if you were sitting around waiting for other people to understand your dreams and your goals,
you'll be sitting there forever.
Yep. And
stuck.
Yeah. That's my experience of it all.
Yeah.
And that's what I can share is my experiences. But some people, if you tell them your dreams and your goals, like what if I tell people I'm going to make a movie and they look at me like, okay, buddy, let them.
Yeah.
It's up to me to make the movie, and I know I've been talking about this movie a lot lately, but that's something I want to do. And it's a dream and a goal, and I will make it one day. It might suck. I doubt it will, but it could. I don't know, but I'm going to make it.
Yeah. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, and then I'm going to post it to Amazon Prime Video if they're still around. I don't again, this isn't like, hey, I'm going to make a movie next week or next year even. And those are great goals to set for yourself, but I'm not at that point yet.
Right.
I'm still in the investigating. What do I need to do? What do I need? A script would be nice. That's what I'm working on now, but you have to take those steps and you have to go through that process. If I was to sit down and say, I'm going to make a movie by next year, I'm going to have it completed.
Yeah, right.
That's unrealistic. Right. That's a very unrealistic goal. Now, if I have a script ready and I have like I'm sure there's 85 different steps that I need to do before I even start with the cameras, even though I started buying the cameras first, which they do come in handy when we want to mess around and make fake cologne commercials like we did.
Yeah, that was the other day. That was great.
Yeah, but just the fact that knowing where you're at in your goal setting and when your dreams and the stuff you have on your plate, just know where you're at and know that it's a process. Just like being sober, you can't get 10 years today.
No.
Can't get 10 years tomorrow unless you have 9 years and 364 days or whatever. Unless your sober date is 10 years tomorrow, then you can have 10 years tomorrow. But if you're just trying to be sober 10 years tomorrow and you just got out of treatment, that's not going to happen.
No.
So just take your time with it and do the best you can. There was a lady that came in our office today, and I guess she's across the way here at our little office. We got neighbors and stuff, and she came across and she was like, hey, how do I, first she asked if we had any audio or anything like that or books on being sober or wanting to, stop drinking. To help people stop drinking. And I chuckled. You can't help people stop drinking. People got to want that. Yeah. They have to want that. And there are tools out there that will help them. But, I didn't really correct her on that. But I was like, here you go. And because Mitch was like, well, I think we have an app or, there's our podcast. And I said, I'll go out there. So I put my cape and I flew out to the front. Captain Save 'em All here. How can I help you? But we started talking, and I guess the guy, I don't know if she does some kind of therapy or something, but like she knows, like she's not a recovering person, so she doesn't really know. But so she came over to the people that do, and that was pretty cool. And I gave her some books, and I don't even think I told her about the podcast, but I don't know. It's something that it can help people,
Right.
You know, we like to goof around, but we like to have fun. You know, there's that factor of it that really keeps us sober.
Yeah.
You said something to me the other day. You're like, I've just been laughing ever since I've met you, dude. Like, it's just
It's
fun.
true though.
Yeah.
We used to send abstract art back and forth to each other after I got out of treatment. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
I almost sent you one the other day.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun because, you know, art is art and you can make art and you can have fun. And yeah, it's one of those little things, man, that is the trick that kind of pushed me through it this time. And I've said it a million times when I walked in that treatment center for the last time, for the 15th time. I remember walking down that hall thinking, okay, I can hate this and just be miserable, or I can say, screw it, I'm going to have fun and I'm going to learn about myself at the same time.
Right. And I think that's one thing that helped me, though, too, because I was at treatment for my first time, and I was learning a lot about myself, and you'd come in on weekends, and we would laugh, joke, have fun. Actually, genuine fun being sober. And I think that's one thing that helped me, because it actually showed me that you can have fun, genuinely laugh, and enjoy yourself sober, where I never realized that before in life at all.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, and they didn't at the time. And I heard it many times when I worked at the treatment center of people going, I didn't know I could laugh this hard sober. Mm-hmm. And I'd remind them, well, when's the last time you laughed that hard when you were using? And they'd be like, oh.
Good point.
Yeah, really good point. I wasn't laughing much at all. I was just always chasing to the next, you know. And the same thing with drinking, you know. I was, I'm not saying I am, I was happiest when I would get home and I'd be shaking and I'd grab the bottle and try not to knock my teeth out. And it would take quite a few chugs to get the shakes to stop. But then when it was stopped, that's when I would feel like, oh. And I don't even know if it was happy, but it was a sense of relief. Mm-hmm. And then I felt normal. And in the movie 28 Days, have you seen that? Sandra Bullock?
I think so.
Well, Steve Buscemi was in there, and I guess he was like running the treatment center or whatever in the movie. I don't remember exactly, but I think that's pretty close to it. And he said something about, you know, drinking just to feel normal. Mm-hmm. And that's what we would kind of try to do. At least I would. You know, I would drink and the shakes would stop, and then I would feel like a sense of relief, or as Steve Buscemi, his character said, normal. You know, I felt like,
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, all right, now I can have fun. Let's go have fun, guys. It wasn't like that at all. I mean, maybe at first in the early days, and that wasn't even fun either. It was just like to try to fit in, to be cool.
Yeah.
And when I was talking at Detox the other day, I was telling them that, you know, if you want to break it down and go back to like my childhood, and they say like all the trauma that we've had, like we've all had childhood trauma, mm-hmm. and the way we dealt with it was to deflect. And some people turn into bullies. Yep. You know, some people, you know, go use drugs, and some people drink. And at first, I can trace it back to me being a class clown. And it kind of coincides with when my father moved. And because I was like a really good student, I liked doing homework, I liked getting good grades. Then my dad leaves, and I just remember another kid in class, and actually his dad had left too, but he was kind of like the class clown, and I thought he was funny, and I became friends with him, and we both became like really huge class clowns. And that was a way for me to deflect, you know, for me to just throw some funny stuff out there and not really worry about the homework or what was going on in the class, but how could I fire back quick? How could I make somebody laugh? Right. Like that's what my goal was that day. It wasn't like, hey, I got to solve this math problem or I got to read this chapter. It was, how can I make people laugh? And then where I was in classes with Kurt, that's the guy I was talking about, or the kid, I guess, back then. But if he said something funny, I would laugh, and it wasn't like he said something funny, I got it. No, it was like we would like challenge each other almost. You know, it wasn't like we were like, hey, I'm going to challenge you today, but it's like if he said something funny, I wanted to say something funny too.
Right.
And so it just became more of like that, and that was a way for me to deflect and a way for me to, you know, take away from what was really going on outside and feel better about myself. You know, because sure, if I got an A on a test, okay, but what do you take tests every 2 weeks or every week? You know, like so I'm gonna feel good once this whole week, and it's hard, and I don't understand it, and I could just make people laugh all day.
Make the whole class laugh.
Yeah,
be disruptive, and
yeah,
I'm sure your teacher loved you.
Some of them did. Some of them did not. Mr. Kellogg, rest in peace. In my senior year, I was in there and I was going through my routine, you know, and he's like, and he like swore at me. He was like, if you need this fucking class to graduate, I suggest you get the fuck out now. And I was like, okay, grabbed my shit and just walked out. Went to the office. Was like, I'm gonna need a new third hour. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah. Because I kind of want to graduate, and Mr. Kellogg told me if I wanted to do that I should probably not be in his class. And then I had a science teacher, Captain Casey Clark. I don't know if he's still alive, but if he is, well, good. And if he's not, rest in peace. But he saw through my BS and realized that I was not going to be a scientist, that I had to really very low interest in science. And he could tell that, and he could also tell that I was a funny MFer. In his class, he didn't really like funny MFers. So he just kind of took it in stride, and then it was time for the final exam, and I was rolling with a D, and I needed to get at least a B or a C on my final exam, whatever it was, to pass his class, because we had to take science at least 1 year.
Lucky.
Knowing that he did not want my ass back in his class that next year. And I noticed that he had a grading chart that he would just throw. It was like a key, I guess they call it, where they would just throw it over. And so it was like A, B, C, D. You'd fill it in. Well, he'd throw the key over it and then just choop, 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 choop. And I was like, okay, we're doing that. All right. So I'd fill in like three of them. Sometimes I'd do all of them, you know. So I'd fill it all in. So he'd throw the key over it and go, well, I ended up with an A. A minus or something, and the smartest kid in class was very pissed because he got a B. And he's like, how in the hell is Corey gonna get an A and I get a B? And I still remember to this day, his little kiss ass was like up by the very front, leaning up against the teacher's like desk. It wasn't really a desk, it was just more of a countertop. You know how them science teachers had those? It's like this black countertop, and it had like a sink in the middle. And he's like leaning up on that, like watching him grade. And that's when he like flips out and he's like, what? And I see him look right at me, and I was like, oh shit. He's like, how's Corey going to get an A? And I'm like, oh no. And he's like, what? Corey cheated. He filled in all of them. And I'm like, oh, damn it. And then Captain Casey Clark looks at me, looks at the test, changes it, puts a C on it. And he's like, what? But he cheated. And he's like, oh. At least he tried, or he said something like that. Like it was a good attempt, but he made sure that I passed that class because he didn't want me back.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that, man. You know?
I remember my senior year, I had to do English class. Our English teacher would make us recite Shakespeare. Like freshman year was Romeo and Juliet.
Let's hear a little.
Sophomore year was Hamlet, I think. And then senior year was Macbeth.
Yes.
And you had to memorize like 35 lines to like pass for the third marking period. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I can't barely remember 2 lines at the same time. Like, I just didn't do it.
And toil of
I had an E, and then like fourth marking period, I think I had like a D plus, C minus, and I remember I broke my leg being all drunk just before graduation, and ended up missing a little school time because of it. Come back in, and she's like, well, here's your senior exam. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And it was like, what is your name? What city do you live in? It's just simple, random stuff. And I'm like, you're just doing this so I graduate and you don't have to deal with me next year.
Yeah.
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 It was like 10 questions that you should automatically know about yourself.
Well, you know, some classes are easier than others, Justin. But yeah, that's what happens sometimes. And like I said, I wasn't mad at him because I was a junior at the time, and with the science teacher, you know, so I was just like, "That's cool, man." And I remember like they had like, did you ever dissect a frog? Did they even give you knives or anything like that? Anything sharp to work with?
I don't think at Baldwin we did. I remember taking biology, but I don't think we dissected frogs.
We were supposed to, and I don't think I did. I think I skipped that whole week because I hated the way it smelled, man.
It did stink, and all the students would always complain.
Yeah.
So I think they just quit doing it because we would be like, I'm not going to class this week. It stinks in here like dead animals. And like,
Can I put this on my resume that I like? Where am I going to get a job at a frog plant? Do they have those? Like,
right.
I don't even know where you would go to get a job, like Frog Legs Company or something.
I think my freshman year we had an old science teacher, and like my sophomore year we got a new one. She came down from the middle school, and she just didn't dissect frogs anymore. So I don't know if it was school policy we didn't do it, or if it was just her take on it.
Marnie, because we were talking about that a couple weeks ago, and she said that she did. That she actually went in and dissected a frog.
I think it used to be pretty standard to do things like that, but with today's society, I don't think you would do that.
I don't know. It seems like things have gotten so crazy because like the stuff that I used to do on the radio, I don't think I get away with now.
No.
Yet people are being more like, hey, you can be a dog, you can be a frog, you can be a woman, you can be a man, you could be an astronaut, you can be whatever you want, right?
Right.
But you just can't have fun at other people's expense anymore.
No.
And I like and that's that sounded really bad. Not saying that I like to have fun at other people's expenses, but in the school of Mel Brooks, if you've ever seen Blazing Saddles, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. He makes fun of everybody. He's like, as long as I make fun of everybody, there's nothing really wrong there. Right. I make fun of my people, I make fun of your people, I make fun of all people. Then I'm not really racist or, you know, picking on anybody because I'm making fun of everybody.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of school of knocks that I went to, you know, like just make fun of everybody.
Me too.
And it's not really making fun. Well, sometimes it is, you know, but it's at the same time, it's more of a thin line now, but yet we're more accepting of everything.
Yeah.
But not it's just a weird.
It's very weird.
It's weird how things change.
We got to care about, we really have to worry about people's feelings and their sensitivity levels.
They want us to, but I still don't. I love how.
I find it really hard.
We should have flipped that light on.
I find it really hard to do that in life because, I mean, we've talked about our schools enough where we kind of pretty much went to the same school just like 200 miles away. You were in kind of a city, I was in the woods, but, you know, we had a multiracial school that we both went to. And so we had all walks of life in our schools, and we all joked around, laughed, had fun. And like, if we would do the things in today's society that we did back then, I'm sure I'd be expelled from high school.
Yeah. It's just weird, man. And
it is.
Now kids are in there vaping weed, you know, like they're
vaping weed, stealing their phone that they're not supposed to have, taking it home with them, taking their Chromebook to school like my daughter did. Oh yeah, and I dropped it on my school floor, so now my screen's broke. Brand new Christmas present, just don't care. Like,
you should get her the toys that we had. Get her like a My Little Pony. Well, I didn't have My Little Pony, but you know what I'm saying? I had some G.I. Joes, but yeah, get her some stuff like that. I'm like, here you go. And she's like, Dad, I'm 13. And you're like, yep. Yep. There you go. Here's a new sweater. Here's some new jeans you've been wanting.
Well, when I was 13, let's take it back. 13, 14, I had a dirt bike. I had a snowmobile. Like, almost all the video game systems that came out.
Dang.
Like, I had regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. My brother had the PlayStation, PS2. I think we had a Sega.
That's a problem with you then. You're getting too much shit.
I mean, my mom worked hard, but at the same time, me and my brother also worked hard, you know?
You probably don't even know what a wiffle ball bat is, do you?
Yes, I do.
Is that what you got beat with?
No. But I remember, you know, like, we knew what hard work was. We knew you had to work to earn things, you know? It just wasn't handed to you. So my mom, bless her heart, you know, she'd work 2 jobs. You know, waitress tables, working a gas station, whatever she had to do to make ends meet, you know. But she got us things that we wanted. And sometimes, I guess, like, I found out this year, like, I wasn't necessarily appreciative of the things that she did get us, because sometimes they weren't exactly name brand that we wanted. And we'd call her out on it during, like, Christmas and stuff, and not realizing how hard she'd worked to get it for us. Until I had my daughter this year, you know, I got her a gift card and she looked at it and was like, really, that's it? Well, I asked you what you about that. I was like, I asked you what you wanted for Christmas, and like it crushed me. And I looked at my mom after we walked downstairs in her house, and I was like, did I ever do that to you as a kid? She was like, yeah, 2 or 3 times. She goes, you know how it feels now, don't you? I was like,
I still do that to my mom.
I was like, that hurt. She
asked me what I want, and I tell her, I want this camera. And I go, oh, no, not that camera, this camera. And then I get the first camera, and I'm like, but I told you I didn't want that camera. But I do like the camera now. I've learned to use it, and it's kind of nice to zoom in. But anyway, back to your story. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just was thinking about how I was a dick to my mom.
But, you know, I mean, me and my brother both had jobs by the time we were 14. We both went out and got a job. We both worked, you know. Mm-hmm. My mom got us cell phones, but... Damn. We worked, so we had to pay our own cell phone.
So you came up in that good life. I didn't a cell phone. You mean cordless phone? That's what I was trying to do. Like,
we had cordless phones. I mean, I had a computer in my bedroom.
A computer? What's that? I didn't have no. There was no computer. Like my grandpa had a computer. We'd have to go over there to print some stuff out every once in a while, or watch him play this weird game that he had. You know, like that's all. That's how we did it.
I mean, so I guess I grew up really spoiled. Thinking back about it. Mm-hmm. About my childhood, you know, I was kind of one of those spoiled brats, but at the same time, I had respect for my elders. You know, I did things right. I got decent grades in school. I always carried at least C's. If we didn't have C's, we got grounded. And back in the day, you know, you didn't have this nice little app on your phone, check grades. So you'd be like, Mom, my grades are up to a C. I'll believe it when that progress report comes out in 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm. We'll see then. I got 4 weeks to dick around.
She'd be like, well, your grounding's you're grounded until I get something sent home in the mail.
Ha ha, got your ass 2 times because you can't drive.
Take the car away. But anyway, we do have to go because I can tell people are still bouncing around the office and not respecting the light.
No.
Because before they were like, you hear Mitch talking and people like in the hall and stuff. And so we flipped on the on-air light, but they didn't. No, nobody cares about us here. Oh, just Corey and Justin around there playing around, doing podcasts, talking about life and recovery. But we do have to go to that comedy show. But thanks for jumping on with me and busting one out on a Friday before we get out of here to go laugh. Problem. Appreciate it.
Later.
Oh, can't believe.
What?
The Fabulous scent.
Yes.
Fabulous by Justin. It's a scent that smells the best. I think I've never smelled it, but I'm sure it's a beautiful scent. He's got a commercial out for that scent. Now, you can't buy this. It's not out in stores yet. But you can check out the beautiful commercial that was put together. And a lot of fun and recovery went into that video. So
yeah, it did.
It's on our app, which you can get from the App Store, Google Play Store. Just search 217 Recovery. It's also on our website, 217recovery.com, and on our YouTube page. Now, we are done.
Thanks.
Had to plug you, bro. Had to plug you as we're busting one out real quick. That's gonna be a drop.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Win a bunch of free shit from 217 Recovery. Go to the app or the website, 217recovery.com.